Notice of this meeting was advertised in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Ms. Trueblood? Present. Mr. Allen?
Present.
Mr. Gardner?
Present.
Ms. Jackson? Present. Mr. Cartier?
Present. This meeting is called to order. There is no closed session for this evening, so we'll skip that resolution. Presentation, resolution number 167, 2017. The resolution of the Township of Pemberton Township Council in appreciation of dedicated public service to Edward White. Whereas Edward White has served with distinction in the Pemberton Township Police Department for over 24 years, and whereas Edward White, during his tenure with Pemberton Township, has given of his time and knowledge and service to the residents of the Township of Pemberton. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Pemberton, assembled in public session on the 16th day of August 2017, the Township Council does hereby commend Edward White for his contributions and dedicated service to the Township of Pemberton. Council, is there a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll make the motion to approve the resolution.
Is there a second? Poll the council, please.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Ms. Trueblood?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Cartier?
Yes. Motion carries. Mr. White, I do not see him here, so. Mr. Gonzalez, anything on from Hardenburg?
Actually, don't see anyone from Hardenburg here, so we can just skip that part.
Public comments, Mr. Baer.
Yes, Council President, due to the agenda tonight and the large crowd in the room, the council will be limiting comments to 5 minutes per person.
Anyone wishing to make comments before this council, please come forward, state your name, print your name, and make your comments. Yes, sir.
My name is James Bone. I live on Pemberton Avenue.
Welcome.
Put my name down on here. Just writing on down there. Okay. So I'm here to talk about zombie foreclosures, actually. I don't know if anyone's ever heard that term, zombie foreclosures, but what it means is when a house is foreclosed on and the bank...
Mr. Boland, you have to stay in front of the mic.
Oh, okay, yes.
All right, and address the council, please. You're being recorded.
When the bank seizes the property, the bank is responsible for the upkeep of the property. And there was a bill passed in 2014, in August, 3 years ago, and the bill tells townships that they can create their own ordinance to fine these banks up to it's $1,500 a day for in-state banks, and it's $2,500 a day for out-of-state banks. Now, I had procured a copy of the text of this bill, and I have furnished it to qualified council members via email, and I also furnished 5 handwritten copies. And I also have it here if you'd like to look at it. But what I cannot understand is why no one has responded to me. What I cannot understand is why no one seems to be excited that this can be done. That these boarded up buildings that we're looking at, that are owned by banks, don't have to be that way. At the minimum, you can get money coming to the township. But something should be done. An ordinance should be created. These banks can be fined, and these properties can be cleaned up. And I see no reason that anyone here can give me why not to do that. That's what I have to say. Now, I'm all ears if someone wants to comment on how possible it is to do that, or
Well, this isn't a back and forth, but the business administrator can address the topic you raised, because the township has actually addressed your concern. Go ahead, Dennis.
The enabling statute was used by the council in December of 2014, and this council adopted an ordinance enabled by the statute that Mr. Boland refers to, and this ordinance is used in the code enforcement process with respect to foreclosed properties.
I can say that it's not used in my neighborhood, because I know the buildings that are owned by banks, and they are dilapidated, and they are staying there. Nothing's been done about it.
We probably have a list, Dennis, of how many? 150? I mean, the list from code enforcement, it's a vacant property registration, and
Yes,
what... That's
336 vacant properties as of May.
And what the ordinance requires is that after the property's vacant as of a certain time, whether it's foreclosed or not foreclosed, that they have to register with the township, and put a sign up.
This is an additional ordinance that we
Yeah.
adopted in 2014,
Yeah.
specifically to hold accountable the companies that have foreclosed on properties. And yes, we use this in municipal court to enforce our ordinances. We already do this.
Not being done in my neighborhood, because I know the buildings that are owned by banks, and they are not being cleaned up. And that's the truth. That's the sad truth. There's a problem with code enforcement, and I think everybody here knows it.
Thank you, Mr. Bolden. Anyone else?
Good
Good evening.
My name is Hazel Mathis. My name is Hazel Mathis. My maiden name is Crosby. And I know that a number of people here are familiar with that name. My mother, Mrs. Crosby. We have been residents of Sunbury Village since 1956, when I was 3 years old. We moved here. My father was in the military. Norcross Land. I now reside at 13132 Kinsway. That is our family home. My parents purchased that house when the houses in Sunbury were up for sale in, 1969. I'm specifically here this evening to address this flyer that was put in my door. Now, the one that I received prior to this, I wasn't able to make that meeting so. And I'm kind of glad I didn't, because some things have changed since then. I'd like to address the things that are on this flyer. First thing I want to say is I'm sure that Mr. Gover is sincere in his efforts. I'm sure that all the landlords in Sunbury Village, I'm giving everybody the benefit of the doubt, that they are very sincere in what they do and how they do it. That said, I've been a resident, and I'm 65, so I think I top everybody here as far as residents in Sunbury Village, and as far as anybody being an investor or a landlord in Sunbury Village. Mr. Gover mentioned that he's been there 49 plus, and he and a number of the other landlords there who've been there 30 some odd years and plus. I think that they probably know each other and know what each other's issues are as far as their tenants are and their past tenants are concerned. Mr. Gover has made a statement that he likes to give people second chances. And I think that's something I will do.
Do we have this one?
Almost everyone is deserving of a second chance. When you get a second chance a half dozen times, it's no longer a second chance. He states that the rentals there are affordable. They're comparable to general just about everywhere else, honestly. Okay? He states that credit problems some of the families who live there have is another reason why they come to Sunbury to live. And I think that that's probably something that those people have always on. Nothing to do with me. I have a decent credit rating. It's not the best, but I work at it just like everybody else does. Okay? And I take my chances with whatever that gets me in life. All right? Work on it. Get it better. You can do what you want to. He states here that 95% of the people in Sunbury are hardworking. Yes, we are. Hardworking, honest. I'm retired from the state of New Jersey. I also retired from the federal government recently, from the JAG's office. So we do have some hardworking, responsible citizens in Sunbury Village. I was raised to be a good citizen by my parents. That was one of the things that they told us to do. Go to school, do your homework, and be good citizens. That was our job when we were in school. After we got out of school, our job was to get a job, keep that job, and become responsible citizens. And we did that. It wasn't that hard. I believe that he is complaining that people have called him slumlord because he owns 61 houses there. You're not a slumlord, Mr. Gilbert. You're not a slumlord. You're getting there. You've been close to it many times. But you are sincere in how you feel about the people that you rent to. That has to be given to you as a gift. But in the meantime, what about those of us who own our homes? What about those of us who have persevered through all the years of this rental, that rental? The families that have lived there and they play hopscotch and monopoly board in Sunbury Village. If you have to evict someone because they're not paying their rent or because they have some legal issues with the township, selling drugs or whatever that goes on there. If you've had issues with them, 9 times out of 10, the people that you call your comrades, the other landlords, they're aware of that as well. So, if you don't rent to them, why should someone else pick them up and put them in another house somewhere? Why should they live and 5 or 6 houses within a year in Sunbury Village? Why? Why?
Mrs.
If
Mathis,
there's a problem one place, it's a problem everywhere you go.
I need you to wrap up your thoughts.
I'm just about to do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Cameras, some people want cameras. Oh, well, that's nice. I want speed bumps. Okay? I vote for speed bumps. Okay? I want the people of Sunbury Village to be given a second chance. I want the homeowners, those of us who stay, who pay our taxes, who also are good citizens, who are law-abiding. I want us to be given a second chance. I want you to take those people that you really want to take a chance for, Mr. Gover, find them lodging in your neighborhood. Find them lodging in the neighborhood of your daughters, your sons, your grandchildren, like my daughter's sons and grandchildren have to live with. Do that. Okay?
Thank you, Mrs. Mathis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And leave Sunbury Village alone, because you know what? We ain't changing the name. This small committee, whoever the heck that was, you're not changing the name. You're not changing my memories. You're not changing everything that I grew up with and am proud of.
Would it be possible for me to see the flyer that you're referring to? I'll promise I'll get it back to you. I don't think we got it in the packet that we were handed this morning, or this evening.
In Europe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Will you make sure that she gets it back?
Thank you.
My name was. Change the word.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. My
Good
name is
evening.
Cora Reporter. I live at 209 Norfolk Lane.
Seem to be.
Yes.
No, I can't.
This is
I
low.
came up here-
It's not you. It's the mic. You're fine.
Okay, I just came up here because I am one of those people who Richard Goldberg gave a second chance to. I was homeless 7 years ago with my son, and my credit was bad, and I didn't have anywhere else to go, and he gave me a second chance. I think that we should have cameras in Sunbury because we need it. And that's basically.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Gonzalez. Mr. Gonzalez.
The woman from the Jeff.
Lorraine Sutton.
Hello.
I live in Pemberton. I've been there for 45 years, and there is a problem. It's not really about the drug dealing, it's about the gang members that live there. I've been in that neighborhood for a long time. They know me as Grandma or Aunt Dory. I get a lot of respect from the people that have been raised there, that I've been around and seen them being raised, but it's the out ones, the outcasts that come in there and destroy us. We've had 1 killing, 2 killings, a shootout. We hear gunfire every night. I have 3 granddaughters that I'm raising, and I can't even let them go out. God, they can't ride their bike, they can't go to the park, they can't do nothing. Now I got one 17-year-old that's going astray because I couldn't give her playtime outside, but she couldn't go around the corner to play because they're riding up and down the street 60, 70 miles an hour. The speed bumps will be good in there. And I just want to voice my opinion. We need something done out there. Now, if I get a camera in my house and it points over to the Kinsley Road, are you going to come to my house and say, can I see those photos? Can I see that video?
I can't speak for what the police would do.
I think it'd be great if we can try to get a grant to get maybe cameras on each corner or something, so we can protect our kids. Our kids can't go out to play. And then you just wonder why these kids in summer are so bad. They have nothing to do. They're not allowed in the park. The cops chase them out the park. Can't walk across the street for jaywalking. There's no white markers stating we have to walk corner to corner. They give us jaywalking tickets. And I want to know why. And our sidewalks look horrible, and we were told we have to get them fixed. When my husband was drinking, he was standing on that same sidewalk, drinking a beer. Cops came up there and gave him a ticket. He had to pay for it. But that's where we live. So I wish something could be done as soon as possible with Sunbury. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Ms. Sutton.
My name is Ava Haynes, formerly known as Human. I grew up as a child at 109 Lemon Avenue. I left there when I was 12, came back several times throughout Sunbury, lived with my mom. My sister lived down in Norcross. I currently live at 162 Kinsley. I have been there through 2 shootings now, several altercations, drug deals, whatever. All I say is leave it at my yard. I don't want it in my yard. I don't want to be outside. I go from my house to my car. There's not enough lighting within Sunbury. I have a lot of memories growing up as a kid. It wasn't a bad place. You didn't have to lock your doors, your windows, you didn't worry about your kids being in before dark. Now, I wouldn't even let my grandkids come in there. I moved there because Mr. Gerber gave me a chance. I was homeless. I have poor credit, not by choice, but because by circumstance. I'm disabled. It's not something I'm proud of, but it's my life circumstance. Mr. Gerber has worked with me. I had a roommate. Things didn't work out. Not everything's perfect. Nothing in life ever is. It's the hand you get dealt and how you deal with it. I'm not saying cameras will make a difference. Everything's better because generally you can't catch everything. I'm not saying that. Speed bumps, wonderful idea. Wonderful. People speed through there, they don't stop at the stop signs. They go straight through. And unfortunately, I'm not putting down police officers, but you call them, they look at. I called them when I lived on 167 Lemon. Called them for different things. I was trying to purchase the house. Cops came out there and watched what was going on and did nothing. Nothing. I called back to the township. Ma'am, there's nothing you could have done. You could have done something. You watched it. What was I supposed to do? Go out there and become a target? No, that's not my dream. I go out and I do what I can to help everybody else. It's what I've always done. Now I'm afraid to. So all I have to say is I hope something can be done to
Good evening.
My name is Susan Zacco. I live at 125 Lemon. Lived there for 10 years. My friend and I moved up there when we decided to come up to the country and have a little bit of peace. I am in the process with the USDA and getting a grant to purchase my house as well as the house that's attached to me, because we have made quite a few friends in the neighborhood. We live in an area that is not as bad as other areas. We do run into as you've heard before, with the gangs. We have the kids on the street who do not go to school. Typhus, nobody comes in to get them away. They have repeatedly, night after night after night, 10 o'clock at night, we have caught them bashing in mailboxes. My neighbor across the street has cancer. Can't replace her mailbox. Luckily, our landlord was kind enough to get them one. But these kids are out of control. Now, I've done the research. We used to live in Camden County. They put cameras in Camden. They got grants for it. And crime, petty crime like this that we're talking about, which actually is, from what I understand, a federal offense, meeting in a mailbox, has been reduced. Major crimes have been reduced. I have called the police department. I have nothing against the police department in Pemberton. They have come out to me every single time that I've asked. I'm a board member on One by One as well. We've done the community cleanup in Sunbury. I've walked with my friend cleaning up Sunbury and had quite a few of the residents in there wanting to help out. So there are a lot of good people in there, but we need the extra help. And the police department has said it to me too. You know, they're glad to see us out there. They're glad to see us. I got a camera for the front of my door because I want to videotape it, and I will have no problem with bringing it in when I'm catching these kids. I've called the police department and chased these kids down because I refuse to put up with it. Speed bumps is a definite need in there. People race through there with little kids playing out in the street. There has to be something done or something tragic happens. So, as I said, we are in the rural area. USDA does have major grants for low-income homeowners and other types of things. There's got to be something out there. You know, they did it in Camden, they can do it in Sunbury. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Peter Sawyer, 180 Kingsley Road. As far as, like, people have brought up the stop signs, I know particular stop signs right in front of my house, some 2 houses from the corner. They blow by them all the time. As far as the cameras, if everybody here has already said they're getting the cameras, maybe as a township, you can look into getting a cloud service or getting a company that we can all put the thing in one spot. That even if you have a different company, the cloud would be a hookup to where you could access it, everybody else can access it. I have no problem looking and seeing if I see something saying something, but it would be a lot easier if there's a cloud, and then everybody in the neighborhood could go to that particular cloud and send their, almost all the systems now have a cloud. But when you got 50 different clouds and you're trying to find out who has what where, maybe you can get a company and say, okay, we'll provide the cloud service and turn around and do that. As far as Mr. Dover, I too am a second chance. We were evicted from Morristown for 10 years. I used to have to carry my wife's wheelchair up and down. Originally we were in upstairs, we went to a downstairs when she had a heart condition. But then when she ended up in the wheelchair for the spinal surgery, I had to carry her in and out of the building. At least here in Sunbury, I only have one step to lift that wheelchair. So, he has helped in a lot of ways. But you guys have got to help too. Because even if all those people say, we'll get cameras, Morristown, there's an ordinance where if you have a camera and the police walk up, you have to say you have a camera and you have to give them access. That's an ordinance. So, if you make us do it, then people can't say, well, you gave the cops the information. If you get a cloud service and anybody can look at it, they can't point fingers. They can say, yes, it was that camera, but who called? If it's in a cloud, nobody called. So that's the easiest way to be anonymous, but not be anonymous. So, yeah, as a township, I'm pretty sure you could turn around and reach out to these companies and say, hey, can we get something that people can hook their cameras to where we all can use it? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Pelletier. Couldn't remember his name. I know.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Henrietta Johnson. I'm new to Sunbury or Pemberton Pines. First, I have to say I do endorse changing the name. It could make a big difference. I'm recently back in New Jersey. I am a caregiver for my sister, and I am just turning 59. I don't think it should be a criteria or anyone's business whether any of us are getting a second chance or not. I think as taxpayers and as citizens and as residents and as community members, public safety should be number one. I don't want to go through everything, but I have worked in California for 32 years and have organized national night outs in Oakland and worked in Hayward and worked with the police departments and the mayor who's now the governor and other mayors as well. I have videos booting up again, but I just videotaped a lot of the garbage cans that are not bin and a lot of the vacant homes just in the area. Took me just almost didn't make it because I had to get a shower and get the braids out my hair. So I have a couple of things if this reboots, but I have questions that I sent on the email in response to Mr. Gonzalez, and I had sent about 3 emails. So, and I did call the city, the township earlier about blight and other things, and it was a less than cold reception on the phone. So I'm going to say, why do calls to the public works regarding overgrown grass and blight go not returned? Why are so many homes boarded up? Why are cars allowed to park on lawns? Why are tenants allowed to have unsightly garbage and debris all over their front and rear and side yards? Why are dirt bikes zooming up and down the sidewalks at high speed in plain sight during the day or at all? Why are owners allowed to rent to criminals? Why do cars careen past my home in this direction? With so many families with children, why do we not have speed bumps? What is the plan of the city? Who is the point person? Why is there no plan? I also would like to add, maybe we could look at community policing where we have foot patrol. And I want to just jump around. In Oakland and Hayward, and everyone kind of knows about Oakland, has a bad reputation, but it's a really beautiful place too. We had wraparound services. We had organizations. One mayor got together and had a task force, which was all the community members, and he had us go out and solicit, ask questions, and get on different task forces. I was a co-convener for foster care and group homes. Right now, I work at Pemberton County Special Services School District, and I was at Home Depot, and I just do whatever I got to do. I was a legal videographer. I was also a legal assistant in San Francisco for many years. But I want to say that we can't just say, okay, I do say we should have cameras, but we can't just say, well, this, whether this. We got to have parenting classes. We got to have things that people can do and learn. We can't just say, and and I have it in my notes, we need to meet people where they are. We need to meet each other. This is my first time here. But the neighbors have seen me ride my bike a little, and I kind of keep a low profile. I also added in one of my emails that when there was some shootings and police officers walking around, at risk to me and my sister, I spoke to the police officer in my side yard at length, which you sort of can't do that around there. You know, you need to just be cool. And so when I call, I don't say my name if I do call, because they just come out and there's animosity or people look at you funny. I had my little camera today and I was laying low and people were giving me little looks, but I was making sure I was videotaping vacant homes, and also some people that I see doing different things said hi to me for the first time, because it seems like I had a camera in my hand. So
I don't want to go on, and I'll kill my video if I can, but I videotaped a lot of the homes that are boarded up. It's not a Band-Aid here. It took a long time, like I said in my email, for this to happen. And it happened in Oakland, where I was. We're a beautiful neighborhood next to a big hospital with down the tubes. But I also must say that we residents and tenants have to get out of our houses. We can't just go in the house and get on a remote. We got to know each other. We got to clean up. And maybe if Mrs. Smith down the street or Mr. Jones needs a hand, say, hey, can I help you get some of the stuff out? I'm going to start picking up cans again and some other litter. But maybe each one teach one. You know, I try to be chill, and I try to just not have an arrogant attitude, and not try to be them or me. But maybe some people want to clean up, but they have problems and they can't do it. So I think the council needs to look at not making Mr. Gober the enemy, not making Mr. Gonzalez write emails back and forth about one-upping each other over who lives where and how long your last name is in the country. But look at the problems. This is a community. We're all here. Not because we have something to prove. We really want a quality of life that's nice. My sister has schizophrenia. She's 51, I'm 59. My mom died and I moved back here from California. I love where I live. I'm here a year. And the people love it too. But there's enough, we're going to do it, no matter whether we get help or not. It can be done. And we can find grants, and we can go to the media, we can get Home Depot and other people to help us do Christmas in July or whatever for those who need help. But we need to acknowledge that we do need some kind of structure and some enforcement, code compliance, and we need somebody, whoever's benefiting from the stuff that's going on in Sunbury, let's clean up all of Pemberton. It shouldn't be Pemberton Township. It just should be located where we live. Thank you and have a good day, and I'll, if I can fill this video, I'll pass it around.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Pelletier.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Tonight, there's several issues I wanted to talk about, but I'm going to forego those. I think right now the topic at hand is most important. And I had two comments I'd like to make. With the problems there, I think they could be similar to what Camden was experiencing years ago. And I've been in that area many a times, and I remember when the state police, with the state police task force that was deployed in there each night, I was around 6 o'clock, and they patrol the streets, and the streets were not run by the gangbangers and the troublemakers. The state police were in control. Now, I don't know what council or the administration have to do, but I would recommend that contact Trenton and see if you can get a deployment of state troops there to come in and police those streets. People should be able to come out of their homes. You know, you shouldn't have dirt bikes going up and down sidewalks and streets too without registrations and licenses, and all that stuff is in Camden as well. But I've seen them come in, clean it up, and then they leave, and then what happens is you got to go back in and clean up. So I would like to see you make an attempt to contact whoever a liaison is in Trenton and see if you can get the governor or the legislature to provide some resources to you, and take it from there. And the other comment I had, it probably won't go over very well as that one did, but in many cities, they create these special administrative districts, and those districts, once they're created, they get extra police patrols. They also get extra trash service. They get extra streets, maybe, green community stuff. They'll come out and pick up stuff. So they really will work on that area as far as beautification and stuff like that. Now, that would require special additional taxes, but they would only be assessed to that particular area or areas in the town or the city. It's something to look at. I know the people who are living there don't want to pay any more taxes than they're but I understand that. But there is a problem, and there's got to be ways to address it.
Thank you, Mr. Pelletier. Anyone else? You'll be next, Ms. Phillips.
My name is Carolyn Marsh. I'm 196. No posting. Here's about something to do with it. It's ridiculous. People shouldn't have to be like me, crying and being upset all the time because they lost their child because of something stupid. People need to do something. You need to do your job.
Thank you. Ms. Phillips?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
First, what I want to say, in the past, many times and many years, the state in reference to some very little children, the seniors, and who live there, deserve a better life right now. You guys have to do something for them, to the landlords. Yes, help them, because they need the help. You see them tonight here. They didn't come for their looks to see what the building look like, because they got problems. And this is the only hope they have. The administration will be able to help them. Now I'm going to bring it up to my next step in this. I got a question for the council and a question for the mayor. All the residents in Pemberton Township, especially the one with the children, big clothes, that they be notified about the pedophiles in our community?
Who's been notified, Ms. Phillips?
Ms. Phillips, this is a comment time, please. Make your comments.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay. I leave that behind. Okay, I stated also referring to all the foreclosed homes. I'm not going to get any answer. But my main question is going to be, and I want to get an answer now. Now, I'm fired now. Our mayor will be leaving the administration in 2018. I've been standing in his body. 3 years ago, it's going to be, I stated the drainage on Tennessee Trail was going to be put on. But what did they do? They put the road on it. They're doing things backwards. I'd like to know for the mayor tonight, if before he leaves, my drainage will be put on Tennessee Trail.
You can ask the mayor after the meeting.
Okay. I also brought it up in reference to the vision and residential aid defenses down. I also brought it up on Spring Lake Boulevard. It's a man who do cleaning service like I do in my community. Cut the grass for the poor man. The grass is getting high and high. The poor man is every Sunday morning cleaning the place. Not because he's getting paid. Because he do volunteer service like I do in my community. Just please do that. And I will, fire building presidential aid, what is going on? Mr. Mayor, the last one, you can answer me the least.
Working on it, Mrs. Cole.
You working on it? Then we got numbers?
We got numbers.
We got numbers, I know we got the money already. Now, we need the people to come and do something there. Okay? See you in 2 weeks, bye.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips. Anyone else? Mr. Gober?
I'd just like to get one paper to Mr. Jackson, Mr. Carter.
Thank you.
Explain it to you.
Did you guys see this?
Tell him to speak himself in the first person, too.
My name is Richard Gober, live at 26 North Hillside Avenue, Denver, New Jersey. I appreciate council giving me the opportunity to speak about a month ago.
I'll start off with one thing. The invitation that I've given Ms. Jackson, Ms. Carter, to see, and what was handed to you, Mr. Carter, earlier, was an invitation that I printed, had delivered in Sunbury Village. It would have been very easy for me to give that only to my own tenants, because, quite frankly, my own tenants appreciate Richard Gober. I think I'm thinking one right now out of 61 who probably would be a Richard Gober fan tonight. But what happened is, I did that because it would have been easy for me to only do my tenants. It's not a personality contest that I'm here for. I'm not expecting everybody to love Richard Gober or be my best friend. And I didn't expect for a moment that my idea of changing the name was going to be something that everyone is going to accept. I've suggested it for the last 25, 30, 35 years. Mr. Gonzalez and I agreed on something. He told me that it was not an official name. What can you change? You can't change something that's not official. So I spoke to many of the residents over the last 2 months. A little committee of about 7 or 8 people finally came up with different names. One of them was going to be Pemberton Estates. We thought we'd get ridiculed by calling it Estates. We came up with Pemberton Pines. The reason for that, we are in Pemberton Township. Pinelands is part of this community. We wanted to make it simple. It was simply to give the people a chance to live here, not to be looked down upon because they live in Sunbury Village. I appreciate the woman's comments. She's been living here all these years. I understand that. It's 65 years. Pemberton Pines was a name we simply wanted to give the residents when they speak to people. My own employee, Mr. Roberson, when he's asked where he works, says he works in Pemberton Township. He doesn't like to say Sunbury Village. The last meeting I asked for camera surveillance.
Mr. Gober, let me
Yep.
stop you. Excuse me, if we have a need to have a conversation, please step out into the hallway. The meeting is being recorded and you are being picked up. Let's give Mr. Gober the same respect that he gave everybody else. Thank you, Mr. Gober.
Thank you, sir. The name change is not a cure-all. It's going to take years for people not to call Sunbury Village. The University Park Apartments were Lake Valley Apartments. There's millions of different complexes that have changed their name. Simply give it a chance. I'm literally here begging you. I'm not here to fight with you. The last thing that Richard Gober wants to do is fight with the council or the mayor or the administrator. Quite frankly, the administrator has an excellent reputation. He's probably done a great job. Personally, I'm sorry. I think he should be ashamed of himself that I sent him letters for 3 years and never, ever, ever asked anyone for help for the money. The camera surveillance, that's not the answer either for all the problems. We've had another shooting since I was here just 3 or 4 weeks ago. They didn't catch him. The person shot somebody and ran across the streets. So all I'm saying is try to reach out and be able to look for the money that might be available that would give the people a chance that live in that development. There are many people that I personally invited to come here tonight that were afraid to come here tonight because people will say they spoke out and they were afraid of retaliation at their home. They are afraid to call the police because a police officer may get out of their car and walk up to their home after they investigate something. They're afraid to go grocery shopping for 1 hour because when they come home, their home may be robbed. Can you even imagine for a moment that somebody would steal your frozen food out of your freezer, take it home to their mother, and their mother didn't ask where it came from? I'm sorry. There is nobody that lives on in Haddonfield, as I've said, that's thinking about robbing a house in Sunbury Village tonight. The people here this evening that are here for their own reasons, I never asked anybody to say anything in particular. I'm glad they're here, but they're fearful of, will everything be okay when they get home? Somebody that lives on Lemon Avenue will rob a house in Norcross and sell it to somebody on Kinsley Road. That's a pathetic situation. And so I'm just trying to, anybody that doesn't think camera surveillance will work, watch Channel 6 News. Last night at 11 o'clock, 5 camera surveillance issues. 2 were crimes solved by the cameras. 3 were new crimes. It helps. The banks, as I believe Mr. Gardner might have said, or somebody else has said to me, the banks pay for their own. I understand that. They're not going to stop a bank robbery, ever. But it will help catch the bank robber. The people that are here tonight, the people who live in Sunbury Village, yes, I've made my share of mistakes. I'm not ashamed to admit that. But yes, I do believe that people deserve a second chance. Because many of the people, that young lady that spoke earlier, affordable housing, trust me for a moment, if somebody could rent a house in Morristown, Mount Laurel, or Lumberton for $950 and get a two-bedroom house with a 50 by 120 foot lot, they would do it in a minute. It's not available to them. That's why they're there. Many of my tenants move on. I lose 3 or 4 tenants every year that find something dead. And Richard Gobert gives them a reference to that new landlord. And I hate to lose them because they've been paying their rent. I'm a businessman, ladies and gentlemen. I don't hide behind that. I need them to pay. I have mortgage companies and taxes and insurance. I sat with this mayor 4 or 5 years ago and was embarrassed to sit in front of him when I owed this township $50,000 or $100,000 in real estate taxes that I couldn't pay. I couldn't pay. I have millions of dollars worth of real estate. Mr. Gonzalez makes it very clear. He's got millions of dollars. He makes $500,000 in rent, and he lives in Ventnor and in France, and I live in Trent. I mean, does that make him 15 minutes closer to Pemberton Township than me? I don't hide behind anything I say. I could have had those invitations only to the people that were my tenants. I also request in the future, once in a while, once a year, have a council meeting at the Nesbitt Center. We used to do it. We used to do it. The people that aren't here, they don't drive. They don't have transportation to come here. Think about it once a year. You used to do it in other communities. Last moment. I'd like to encourage any other residents that are here tonight, please get up and speak whatever you want. You want to beat Richard Gobert? I'm a big boy now. I got broad shoulders. Not going to offend me in the least. Not a problem. Yes, I want you to pay the rent. And yes, if Sunbury Village does better, Richard Gobert does better. And my wife and my new grandchild, 6 months old. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Starks? You'll be next.
My name is Claudia Stewart, and I've lived at 123 Kinsley Road for 45 years. And Richie and I have butted heads at times, and case and a lot of things that things brought to our attention, I thank him. My daughter lives with me, who's 32, and her 4-year-old son. This is one of the scariest times that I've lived in Sunbury Village. And I have seen Sunbury Village get better, and I have seen Sunbury Village get worse. And a lot of times when it gets worse is when the economy is not so good. And I don't care what President Trump says. Right now, grandbaby's father's laid off. My daughter's boyfriend, who was gainfully employed when they started dating, is laid off. And as of Friday, my daughter will be leaving. So you can't tell me the economy is doing good. And that's when I see trouble in Sunbury Village. There are a lot of homeowners like me who have lived there for many years. Life hasn't always dealt us the best cards financially, and that's why we stay. At the time in life when I probably could have moved out, mortgages had went up to 10% with a balloon. And I couldn't afford that. So that's why I stay in Sunbury Village. I have seen times when we have had bicycle patrols because we got a special grant, and that helps. I have seen times when the mayors have told the police, if you're going past Sunbury Village, drive through. Pick a street and just drive through, so that there's at least a presence there. I haven't seen a real good presence of police in a couple of months, and now we've had a couple of shootings. My daughter told me tonight before I came out, she talked to one of the neighbors. We get around so well these days, so I don't get out to talk to one of the neighbors. But
she said there was a bullet that flew through our yard when we weren't home. It went through the neighbor's yard and another neighbor's yard. They don't know where it came from, just this bullet came flying by. And see who the perpetrator was. Her feeling is that cameras, people have guns, they're going to shoot them out. If people in my development can afford cameras, God bless them, I can't afford cameras. But certainly I don't think that there's anybody here who can afford a camera if they had it with determined information over to the police. At least I would close that. As far as changing the name of the development, it's a development. It's not like an entity that's owned by someone, so you can't really change the name. It was built as Sunbury Village, and it will be Sunbury Village until the whole thing is demolished when it all falls apart. Hopefully not for 100 years or more. I'd like to stay in my house for at least a few more years. So my request really is if we could look at having more of a police presence in our neighborhood. I absolutely agree about the speed bump. I also think that maybe lowering the speed limit in Sunbury Village to 15 miles an hour so that the police could ticket people that are going 30. That might be helpful as well. So thank you for your time and I appreciate your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Storrs. I did. Back to the bottom.
Ladies first.
Good evening. Good evening.
My name is Shalonda Renee Rice. I am a new resident to this zone area. I didn't know. Someone had told me that once I had already signed the lease that I had welcome to the good and good. I was raised in Ewing Township, very close to Trenton. I thought Trenton was bad. Came home, the last shooting.
Could you over the mic?
And,
Can you pull the mic down? Yeah.
I didn't know it was a shooting. I thought maybe there had been a fire, something. I saw the firemen with the water hose, was blocked off and asked the police officer what had happened. And he said, there had been an incident and I heard from other people there had been a shooting right there. It was a little unnerving, to say the least. Because I'm not used to that type of environment. I know that everyone else in the attitude about Sunbury, Pemberton Pines, whatever you want to call it, the reputation has already been laid. It already has that reputation. There needs to be something devised to clean up the area. I myself am a college graduate, have my graduate degree, worked as a investigator for the public defender's office for Trenton. Hurt my back and came on, sometimes bad things happen to good people. Have 3 college students, well, my youngest is 17 getting ready, and this Saturday I take her to college. My son, 21, he's in college in Philadelphia, and I have a college graduate from Rutgers. So not everyone in Sunbury Village, Pemberton Pine, whatever you want to call it, are drug dealers. There are a lot of good people, I understand. I haven't met them all, but I have faith. But what I have seen riding around the area is despicable. They're coming from a place with code enforcement, such as Ewing. It's just really intolerable. Some of the areas and condition, and then to see the babies running around. You would think you're in Beirut, Hampton area, and it shouldn't be happening in that area. If it were cleaned up, it's really not, if you look at it, a bad area. It's who's there or whatever's happening that's making it a bad area. I don't know what you could do, having just come to the area. Cameras as in Lieutenant and Ewing, they have some areas put that there. I don't know what costs are involved. And then I hear somebody say they would shoot them out. Well, see, in Ewing, they're not shooting out cameras. So, you know, I don't know what it's like. Am I in the Wild Wild West or what? The name change. I'm sorry. The police presence, I agree with. No matter what, I don't know. That also seems to be a deterrent. Lowering the speed limit would help because there are children and they do little ones, and their parents unfortunately aren't looking at them. You have to watch out for your driving and little ones running, and they're pretty fast and not get in front of you, and the speed bumps. So I just wanted to come and, you know, as a new resident right now, state my piece and introduce myself to the area and to you all, and to hear what has been going on and what I have seen. And hopefully we could amicably come to a solution. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you
Franklin.
very much. Hello.
My name is
Good
Hilda
evening.
Brown, and after listening to all of these sad stories, unfortunately, I'm coming here because I was planning a family reunion in Lake Valley Acres. I was met with some issues, and the reason why I'm here is because I submitted my application March 2nd and an approval. I didn't get a call until, no, I didn't even get a call. I got an email August 14th, 5 days before the event. Now, we have come to some conclusion, but I'm here as a private citizen because I was given a message today that the day that I'm doing is usually done by the Lake Valley Association. Well, that hasn't been done. So, me as a private citizen, I'm doing it, but yet I get met with, you know, I run up into a wall. So I'm here to ask, what is it that a private citizen has to do in order to make a difference in their community? I mean, why do we have to go through all of these hoops when we could have easily worked together? You know, I never got a call from the mayor or from the administrator, but they talked to people, everybody around me. But I know it's my name that was placed on the application, my address, my telephone number, but nobody reached out to me. So I'm just here as a private citizen to ask why. I know you're not going to give me an answer, but I just want to put it out there. Why? Because pretty easy to get wrong. And I've been in this community for a long time. And I'm just trying to pass on to my grandchildren what my aunts, some of the people here from Lake Valley, some of their parents, Ms. Sheridan, Ms. Brad, my aunt and uncle, Ms. Clemens, Mr. Clemens, they provided a foundation for it.